It is legit 100 degrees out here at my house right now. Heat index is well into the hundreds today. And out here training, loving it. I love the heat because I love the challenge of the heat when you're training, when you're working out. I put my shirt on for the decency of the video, but usually when it's hot like this, I try to wear little clothing and I sweat like crazy. But while I'm training and working out today, something popped into mind about why so many people don't achieve the skills that they're wishing for or hoping for in their Kali practice. And I want to tackle that and break something down for you today. Okay. Let's take a look at something here. I've been teaching this stuff for a long time now. You know, I've been training in FMA since I was about 15 years old. I've been in martial arts my whole life. But I've been teaching, as Kali Center for almost 11 years. And altogether, I don't know when I started teaching, 2007-ish. I think somewhere around there. And the number one reason why I find the majority of people that do not reach the skill level that they're looking to reach, especially in this art. I'm not talking about other arts right now. Maybe it applies to other arts, but especially for Kali, because that's my lane, is that people do not spend enough time working on one skill at a time. A lot of times what I find is people will work on something, like when you're working in classes and stuff, you know, maybe you work on something for 10, 15, 20 minutes and then you move on to another thing. And who knows when you see that that first set of skill again in your training. But where the skill really happens, where the development really happens, is not when you're at class. It is not when you are all juiced up, amped up at a seminar or a training camp. It is when you are at home, bored out of your mind, and there's just nothing else to do. And can you maintain your focus on a particular skill through the boredom and get to the other side of boredom? Because trust me, something comes after boredom. It just takes a lot of boredom to get through, to get to the thing that is on the other side of it. So, for example, keeping something very simple here, is at Kali Center, we have this thing called calibration. Okay. So if you hear some of these terms popping up, like calibration in other places, it's probably because they've been watching Kali Center stuff, which is fine. It's flattering. But we have this thing called calibration here at Kali Center. And what calibration is combining your strikes with your footwork. So let's take a very basic, like open reverse triangle here. Okay, let's take open reverse triangle. And we're going to take our basic angles 1 and 2. Okay, angle 1, angle 2, making a big X in front of the body. And we're going to come out on the X, all right, out on the 1, meaning we're stepping on the 45, and then we're going to return back to the apex on the 2. Same thing right 45. So I'm going to strike on my 1 as I'm coming out, and then return on my 2. And I'm just going to work this here. And though this is a very, what I would say, basic drill, what happens is people will spend about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes on that drill, and then they'll go into something else. They'll start hitting a heavy bag, right? Because they got to hit something. Or they'll just get bored of doing that and they'll just stop training, stop practicing altogether. They'll go inside and play video games, watch TV, hang out on the couch, watch YouTube videos about training collie and drills and stuff, looking for maybe another drill to do. That's why the skill doesn't go anywhere, is that you're quitting way too soon. You got to spend time on this drill. Okay? How much time? Endless amount of time. An unmeasurable amount of time. I cannot tell you how many hours I've spent working on this particular calibration. Okay? And if you're looking for variance in the drill, you can vary the strikes, but you're still maintaining the exact same drill. The skill here is striking calibrated with your weapon while you are moving on the traverse lines of reverse triangle. So if you're getting bored swinging your 1 and 2 in the same way, then add in another hour of training that. Then just flip the strikes. Out on the 2, back in on the 1. Out on the 2, back in on the 1. Start slowly and then build it up, and try to train this to a point that you can control. Then max out and see if you can throw your body off balance. How much ground can you cover? How fast can you blast out? How fast can you get back? How fast can you change directions? And then you can start playing around with your different angles. But spend time with each striking pattern. At least 15-20 minutes. Okay? I don't know how long it is. Don't use a timer. Just go. Just go. Maybe I change. Instead of throwing a diagonal 2, I come back on the horizontal 2. All right, you're just making this one subtle change in the drill, but you're working the same drill. Because as I tell my students when we're training in person at camps, seminars, one-on-one trainings, the skill is in the drill. It is not developed in the sparring. The skill is developed in the drill. Then, once you have it, you take the skill to the sparring. What do I mean by that? It doesn't mean that you're looking to create whatever. It means you're looking at where and when do I apply the drill that I've been working on inside of the sparring. Here at Collie Center, when you're training with us in person, you come out to one of our training camps, one of our seminars, which I'm going to be doing a lot more of. You can go to colliecenter.com, check out the upcoming events. But this is why our training and our sparring, our flow looks different. It's like, wow, how come people are using triangle footwork? Why are they, working all these other movements that you don't commonly see in other FMA sparring? And it's because we spend so much time doing the drill to develop the skill, and then we teach how to actually apply the drill, the skill, in the flow of weaponry, in the flow of things. But you can only do that if you're actually working on the drill and spending enough time in your drills. All right, did you see how I switched it there? Look, you got to know, how do you make these switches? Okay, do you have the control within the drill? Do you have the control of the body? Do you have the control of the weapon? Not only do you have the knowledge, but do you actually understand the knowledge? Do you understand what you're doing? And the first placement to figure out or to learn to understand the knowledge isn't just to go ask your teacher. If you're spending quality time and enough time in the drill, the understanding will begin to seep out. You'll start to really understand what it is that you're doing. It almost like it opens up to you. It's like the drill almost kind of speaks to you. Okay? I mean, you can change things up however you like then. But you know what you're doing. You know where you're going. You know what, you know why, you know how, you know where, you know when. Okay, so that's the biggest thing I see in practitioners that come out and train with me, and they're not at the place where they really want to be yet. I'm like, dude, it's simple. You're not spending enough time working on the skill that you want to have. Okay, you're not spending enough time on the fundamentals. Okay, the fundamentals is the beginning. But the fundamentals is the true advance, because all the cool manipulations and all that, that's like intermediate stuff. Okay, you're starting to play around with all the fundamentals, and then you and your training partners, everybody's getting better. You can't hit them on the fundamentals anymore, so then you go into these, more advanced manipulations. Yeah, because you need to at the intermediate level. But as your range gets better, your timing gets better, your generation and control of momentum get better, your understanding of what you're doing is getting better, your body's becoming more in tune with what you're doing, and your mind has clarity in what you're doing, then you're going to start finding yourself going back to the fundamentals again. You're just going to be working the fundamentals, because it's so much easier to hit somebody with a basic angle 1 than it is trying to figure out which manipulation to use. Okay? But yes, it's a complex process. You go through the process just so you boil it back down to simplicity. But you have to go through the process to actually understand that physically. It doesn't matter the knowledge and the understanding that we have going on inside of our minds, because the performance of Kali, the performance of a martial arts, is a physical requirement, not a mental one. Okay? I know people say that the fight, 99% of the fight is in the mind. I don't know. A lot of times when we're moving around and we've been flowing for 6, 7, 8 hours straight at my camps, at my seminars, because we do that, my mind is not thinking about the flow. I'm thinking about purple pie place, rhubarb pie, something else. I'm thinking about a blizzard. I'm thinking about, I should probably get a drink of water right now, but that's going to take up too much of my time. I got to stop. I'm going to stop training, and, what a waste of time, even though it's not. But that's where my mind goes. Or I'm watching the other group, because the body knows what to do. The body has understanding at this point. And this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. It takes time. It takes many, 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 many hours accumulated by months and years, and it just takes time. But you have to have that time dedicated to the skill you actually want to acquire. If you're jumping around all over the place, if you're skipping training because you're getting bored, you're never going to get there.